Yeah, know I'm sturdy like a Millie Rocket. Skin clear, still look young, Andy Miller knockers. Money in my pocket, don't call me a money pocket. Engine get to rocket, it sound like a thunder rocket. Yeah, I still love my baby even when it's toxic. Crazy like she Britney, but no, she don't shade the knock. No, Russell Wilson way I get low and stay in the pocket. I get paid and do my dance like a touchdown. Yeah, I can't do no trying to leave that gun around. In my teens, we were acting up and running around. Now we're grown, still get to it if it's necessary. On the ground from January to January. Never met nobody who retired when they were young. So I guess I gotta get it to the cemetery.
Welcome back, guys. I'm super excited today because I finally finished the KTM 690 Enduro 2020 model, turned it into a proper adventure rally bike, and this bike has so many accessories that I can't wait to start listing and explaining to you each one of them. For every bike build I do, I feel a bit like an artist, and I want to have, the possibility to paint my ideas. For this reason, Tamas told me, look Manuel, for the sticker kit, do whatever you like, try not to put too much orange, he told me, but design something cool and then show it to me. So I decided to design this sticker kit together with my friend Ken from Canada. We did a rendering of this. We changed then also some plastics because we went for the black fork guards and black front fender. If you don't know it, but on the 690 you can fit any KTM EXC front fender and fork guards. So it was easy to find it in black, and like in the past video on the Husqvarna, we got them red. The full sticker kit is in a crystal material, in a very thick material, so that not only it adds a very cool look to the bike, but also it protects it in case of crash, adding one layer. And speaking about protection, on this bike we went with full carbon protectors, the Tecmo ones, on the clutch cover, on the ignition cover, and also for the exhaust heat shield, giving a real factory racing look to the bike. This being a bike that will be used not only to take part in some rallies, but also for some adventure riding in Morocco, we had to make a custom build that would fit both needs. For this reason, we had to add some fuel capacity, and we added a front under-seat 6-liter Raid Garage plastic tank. It's all connected with the rear tank, which is 13 liters. And you have the tap that you can turn on and off so that you can isolate the front tank in case you want to first use all the fuel in your rear tank. Furthermore, we added the Bashplate in aluminium to give a good protection to the engine, but also with a water tank. This water tank can hold water, or you can use it also as an extra fuel tank without having to route it and connect it to the tanks. This is isolated, and it has a tap on the bottom so that in case we have water or fuel and we need to take it out, we don't need to remove the bash plate. So it can be pretty useful if you go on adventure riding, because you can put down there some fuel, and in case you run completely out, take a bottle, a plastic bottle, open the tap, and you can then pour back in some fuel inside here. Looking at the fuel tank, usually on the KTM 690 and Husqvarna 701, you have to put the key in order to open the fuel tank and refuel. We changed the filler cap. We put a CNC machined one with an Acerbis cap, and this is the same cap you have also on the bash plate. So in case you lose maybe this one, you have an extra one that you can take off. Very important, because if you're in Morocco or in the desert in the middle of nowhere, you won't find any place where to buy this cap. We have a valve. This also is an improved system, because if you ride a lot off-road, this is a modification, an upgrade that you really want to do, because with the normal cap with the key, the tank doesn't breathe enough, so you risk to have some vapor lock inside the tank. So so this is much better. It makes, you know, the gas come out with a valve. Adventure riding, we all know we always need something with us and we don't want to carry so much weight on top of us. For this reason, we put this waterproof Enduristan tail bag. It's pretty nice because with the rear 690 fender, it seems designed to properly fit this rear fender. We have a lot of space here. We can carry maybe tools, or we can carry our rain gear, or even, you know, I don't know, your socks and your pants, or lots of condoms. I find this upgrade super useful, and I would personally put it on every adventure bike build I do. Another thing I decided to do on this bike is to change the exhaust. We put an Arrow exhaust with the carbon cap here on the end, and it's a full black. This is fully homologated, so it comes with the homologation papers. It's street legal. If you get stopped, you won't have any problems. But what's the benefit of changing the exhaust? This, compared to the OEM one, is much lighter, so we reduce a bit the weight of the bike, but also it dissipates the heat much better, so we will have more comfort when riding. If you want like all aftermarket exhaust, you can potentially remove the DB killer, even though here it's a bit complicated, you need to take off the rivets. Tamas won't have to remove the DB killer, we'll keep it like this, and it makes also a very nice noise. I usually get lots of questions about tires and which tires I would recommend for a dual purpose use, so for adventure riding, but also, you know, some riding on asphalt. And in my opinion, one of the best options is the Michelin Desert tire. This is the one we use at Dakar and all World Championship rallies. It's a very sturdy tire, very hard. At the moment we place inside the tubes, but when Tamas will go to Morocco, we will put desert bib mousse both on front and rear. Usually when you put mousse, you want to get the combination of mousse and tire. So if you go for Michelin Desert tire, also get the Michelin Desert mousse. Don't try to get, I don't know, some Metzler mousse or other brands, because each brand clearly develops their mousse to fit and last inside their tire. This is a good tire because you can put on loads of kilometers. For sure, you don't have that much grip in case of mud, but you know, you can also ride on the asphalt comparing to a specific enduro tire that becomes really dangerous and won't last long. Instead, this will last for sure lots of days. Together with the tires, we also changed the wheels. We wanted some proper rally wheels so that Tamas wouldn't have to worry about tightening spokes at the end of every day of riding. We got these hand wheels with CNC machined hub, to which we decided to go with the orange color. We have reinforced spokes. These spokes are 30% bigger than the OEM, so they provide a much better stability even to the rim, so it's much more reliable. It will be more difficult to damage your rim with these type of spokes. Furthermore, we had the option to choose the color of the nipples, and we went for orange nipples, giving a really factory racing look to the bike. We decided for now to keep the OEM gearing ratio with the sprockets, but we went and changed the foot pegs. And as you'll see now on the B-roll, the OEM foot pegs of the KTM 690, in my opinion, are far too small. And especially on the clutch cover, that's pretty wide. You don't have a lot of surface where to put your foot. So we went with these CNC machined foot pegs. These were developed by Rebel in collaboration with the Cross Country Adventures. They have a special ceramic anodization, which is different from normal anodization. You see lots of foot pegs that are quite cheap in black, orange color, but as you'll see on most bikes, after a few rides you start losing already the color and they wear out a lot. Instead, these we wanted a set of foot pegs that could really last in time and give lots of grip. For this reason, these foot pegs are designed so that we can change the pins. This means in time, if we will wear these out, we can change them, put them back new, and so our foot peg will be like new. Furthermore, they really give huge traction to your boot and to your foot. They are much wider than the OEM. When we ride with our boot, that already makes our foot much larger. We won't end up with the foot slipping off the foot peg. And especially if we are doing something technical or we are in the sand, we can apply the correct pressure in order to always find traction everywhere. From this side, you can also see the carbon heat shield and the carbon ignition protector by Tecmo. These are two plug-and-play products. We wanted the Bashplate to look nice with the full glossy black sticker kit, so we powder coated it in glossy black, and I think it looks really nice on the bike. As you've probably seen in other of my bike builds, we have the Selle della Valle factory rally seat cover in the quick dry leather and with the camels, with underneath the layer of memory foam to add comfort for adventure riding, but also more grip. In the front, we placed the time card pocket, cause this bike will take part in some rallies, but will be used for adventure riding as well. So this can always be useful when you need to put some money or a card to pay the toll on the highway, or if you're traveling and you want to make clear your intentions when going out with a girl, you can put here your condom and she'll immediately know where she's heading to. In the plans, we don't have it right now, but in the plans it's also to add a steering damper. We will put the Scott steering damper, but it requires a special clamp to the frame made by Raid Garage, because we put the Raid Garage under seat fuel tank. The BRP one doesn't fit. Now let's move on the part I'm most proud of this build, and it's here the front nav tower and all the instruments we installed. Starting from the handlebar roadbook Tripmaster switch. This is a CNC machined RNS dual Tripmaster roadbook switch. You can command up to 2 Tripmaster or 1 Tripmaster and 1 speedo cap, and you have the toggle switch for the roadbook to make it go back and forward. And this new model also has protection for the toggle switch, so that in case we crash, we have some protections, because these toggle switches can be delicate. On top of the Tripmaster roadbook switch, we put the Chev mount. This is from the Enduro bikes, from the KTM EXC. This can be adapted, this switch, in case you want to remove the OEM switch panel, which is so bulky and so big, and I don't understand why KTM keeps on putting it on these bikes, because these Enduro ones are much nicer and they use up less space. We needed to gain space in order to put this roadbook Tripmaster switch. We have here the lights, so the high beam and low beam, and the horn. Then I needed to find a place to put the turn indicators, because adventure riding means we need to be street legal, fully street legal. I needed to leave on the turn indicators and I needed the switch for them. I placed it here. I needed to invert the wires, because clearly this on the Enduro bikes is always placed on the bottom. Now it's on the top, so everything is switched around. Switch the wires and now it's working properly. Then we have the traction control and ECU map switch. Then here in the center, we have the new Garmin Montana. It has a much larger display compared to the previous model. And with the patented system that I designed, the CNC machine patented bar riser, I am able to place any type of Garmin on the handlebar. Let me know in the comments if you have the same thought as mine, but of all the Garmin GPS systems that I've tried and tested, I think that the new Garmin Montana 750 is the one that really perfectly fits in this space. The proportion of the display, the positioning, the antenna placed here on the side, it makes it fit as if it's almost part of the bike, and you have here the wires that can go up and down without clashing against the GPS, and so without wearing it out. One option we had took in consideration was to put foam grips, but then realizing that this bike might be raced also in rallies like Hellas Rally, where you might encounter mud, we decided to keep the OEM grips, but went for closed handguards, fully in plastic. If you have to put closed handguards, my opinion is better to go with the plastic ones, not with the ones with the aluminum bar, because I don't know, personally, I'm scared of having that aluminum bar when I'm riding, so I prefer these plastic ones. And also these are the same handguards used by the KTM factory team and Husqvarna factory team at the Dakar Rally. A nice feature of these handguards, and the reason for which they are chosen by the Dakar team and why they're perfect for adventure riding, is that having this extra plastic on top means we will have added protection, not only from rocks if we are riding behind one, but also in case of cold weather. In case of cold weather, our hands will be nicely protected from the wind. Now let's start looking at the nav tower. This is the nav tower by Rebel Exports. It's plug and play and super versatile. Probably it's one of the most versatile towers on the market because it can fit riders from both worlds, adventure riding and rally racing. The first thing is that the OEM dashboard is relocated on the tower. This makes it more visible when riding. Also, when we twist the bars, we don't have wires going everywhere, because then all the wires are sent inside the tower. We have the ABS switch that we can easily access from above. And moving up, if we wanted, we can have 2 on-off switches. On this particular build, I didn't put any switches because we are using the fuse box by Rebel Exports and the F2R power box to give power to all the nav instruments. We have here a roadbook by F2R. It's the RB850. It's easy to access. You can remove the screen, insert your roadbook. Inside the roadbook holder, we have this red switch that in case we are riding at night, we can turn on LEDs so that everything will be visible on our roadbook. Let's say that one day we don't care about carrying our roadbook on. You know that this particular nav tower, you will remove 4 bolts. The whole roadbook bracket will come out, and you can put the adventure bracket where you can use a GPS, the carpe heater or other stuff. But let's say you continuously do during the year some racing, some adventure riding, and you don't want to really remove and put on every time, change the whole bracket. You can keep everything wired and just remove and disconnect the roadbook holder, keep your Tripmaster, and thanks to this bracket that is included with the Rebel Exports Rally Kit, you can put in the place of the roadbook either a RAM mount for a smartphone or a tablet or anything, or another GPS. In this case, if Tamas goes adventure riding in the desert for days or weeks, he can also run 2 GPS systems and the Tripmaster, so he will definitely not get lost. In case he gets lost, it's better he doesn't take part in any rally. All the instruments and the handlebar switch are wired to the F2R power box that you can't see anywhere, not on the side of the tower, not on the front, because it's nicely placed underneath the roadbook in a very protected area. Also, having the circular threaded connectors here, you're sure you'll never have any issue with the wiring of these instruments. It also makes it a very versatile system, because if we want to add a Tripmaster, or maybe we need to swap out this one and put a another one, we can easily all wire them to the power box that is already pre-wired. So you'll just have to put the connectors without having to crimp anything. On top, we placed the new RNS GFX PRO version 2. This has an internal GPS antenna, and the super cool feature about this Tripmaster is that it has cap heading, it has GPS Tripmaster, or if you want, you can also have a second Tripmaster wired to your wheel. But on the 690 and 701, it's such a pain in the ass to wire the sensor cable that we didn't wire it. He will go only with the GPS Tripmaster, but also you can connect the GFX to your Garmin. And if you have your waypoints here on your Garmin, here you will have the arrow indicating the direction to go to reach your waypoint. This is the exact same feature that we use at Dakar, because when we get close to certain waypoints, we will have an arrow on our speedo cap. So practically this is like a speedo cap, if not even better, because it's enclosed in a CNC machined frame. It has an internal antenna, and it can work, you know, even without having to wire it to your GPS. But it's a nice feature to have that if you want to train some navigation in the desert, you can have the arrow up here and have all the compass heading. Next to it, we have space for another Tripmaster or for a speedo cap, but probably this will be used for the speedo cap in case Tamas takes part in any international rally where you have the GPS unique to GPS. In fact, the CNC machined bar risers that I designed can also fit the ERTF GPS bracket. And as many of you know, when you race and you have the ERTF GPS, you will need to wire some extra antennas to make it work. For this reason, here on top of the roadbook bracket, we have these places with these holes so that we can fit several antennas and easily zip tie them in order to have them secured and not lose them. On the right hand side of the tower, you can see, as always, the two quick charge USB ports with the voltmeter display in the middle, so that we will always know how much power is coming out from our battery and if we are running low on battery, but also if we need to charge our smartphone because we are in the middle of the desert and our iPhone has just died, we can charge it from here. From this side view of the tower, you can also see why it's designed in a certain way and why it's what riders choose to especially use in racing, as Rebel X Sports kits are the most used in the World Championship and Dakar Rally, is because it's wide enough in order to let you fit all the wires inside. This means the wires are super protected, but also from an aesthetic point of view, it's nice not to see any wire running anywhere, and they all fit in the first part of the tower. In fact, here where we have the space for our emergency kit or for the Erie track, we don't see any wires because all the wires are here in the first part of the tower. I must confess you something, I have a real fetish for neat wires, and luckily here with the nav fairing kit you get this cable guide. It's a 3D printed cable guide held in with zip ties so that the wires will work nicely next to the handlebar and won't clash to the road book. And from this view you can also see how everything is wired together and put with zip ties inside the tower so that we can twist the bars and there's nothing pinching anywhere, so Tamas will be able to ride the whole summer without having ever to worry about his wires. The turn indicators are designed to fit on the tower because there are two holes dedicated where you can fit the OEM indicators like this case, but also some smaller ones. In fact, Tamas will probably then change these with other street legal indicators, but smaller so that they can fit nicely inside. I always get lots of people asking me or saying, yeah, but you can't in my country use the turn indicators behind the windshield. And I'm like, man, you have a full air scoop and side panels where to put turn indicators. If in your country, to be street legal, you need to put the turn indicators outside, just drill a hole here anywhere you want and put your turn indicators. Another exclusive feature of this particular nav tower is that the spacers in the tower are threaded, which means you can remove one side of the tower and everything will stay in place. You won't have the spacers drop out when you take out the bolts, and it will be very easy, especially while building your bike. As you will be able to see in one of my previous videos where I did a full instruction tutorial on how to install this tower. If you didn't see it, go and watch it. You'll see how having threaded spacers in this particular build, where we have lots of wires on the KTM 690 and 701, how useful it is and how much it simplifies your job. Looking at the front of the nav tower and of the fairing, we have always the sexy stainless steel plate with the KTM logo that really stands out. We have then the factory KTM Rally replica windshield. This is the windshield used by Toby Price and all the factory guys at Dakar, and this provides a really good airflow and air protection to the rider. It's a lot different from the previous Rally replica model. The previous version would have the air go on top of the rider. This is designed to improve the wind protection for the rider and has the wind go to the sides of the rider with this also lower area that deflects the air to the side of your legs. So this has given an improved air protection. A very smart thing that Rebel Exports did is that they 3D scanned the factory KTM Rally replica, and 3D scanning the whole bike, they managed to place the windshield exactly at the same height and position as on the factory rally bikes and at the same angle. So this means that you're getting exactly the same aerodynamics as a 35,000 euro bike that wins Dakar Rally. This, I think, is a very incredible feature because no rally kit company has access to a wind tunnel. Instead, KTM has, so you know you're getting for sure the best of the best. The windshield is made in a special nylon and it has all the codes printed on. There are some companies that have copied the KTM windshield. Be aware of that because those rally kits are not street legal, whereas this is street legal and can be TÜV approved. If you are in Germany, Switzerland, Austria, this will be very important so that if the police stops you, you have your bike in conformity to the laws and won't get any fine. Moving down, we have the headlight with the two street legal LED lights from Hella. We have a high beam, a low beam, but also have a small position light. Everything is enclosed in a headlight mask, so that is separated from the windshield. In this way, we will never have any type of reflection, internal reflection in the windshield, which makes it very comfortable when riding at night, because there are other kits available that make huge amount of reflection that can be also dangerous for you because you're not seeing properly the road. Here you won't have this problem, and on the nav tower you have the possibility also to slightly adjust the angle so that based on how much luggage you have, because if you have a lot of luggage on the rear of your bike, the bike will sit a bit up and you'll be able to move downwards the light. The stone guard and the headlight mask are sealed together with a special rubber seal. In this way, not only you will have protection from any elements going against the lights, but also you will have a proper sealing so that dust and water won't get inside here, and it will be very easy to clean your headlight. I know that in certain countries you don't need to have street legal lights, and in that case my advice is to replace the lower LED light in this assembly and put a Baja Squadron Pro light. You'll need to cut out the headlight mask, but you know, the Squadron Pro light, I've tested it and it's amazing how much light it makes, but if you're riding on the road, you'll simply blind who's coming the other way. Moving down beneath the windshield, you have this lower plastic air scoop. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but also underneath, it's designed to deflect also the air in order to have a really comfortable aerodynamic for long rides, but especially for fast riding. So when you're above 120 kilometers an hour, you will be really comfortable riding. The whole windshield and air scoop are held in place with these Zeus fasteners. These are quick release, you don't need any tools, super easy, just turn and twist and the whole windshield comes out so that you can access the tower if you need to access any wiring, or as I'll show you later, if you need to access your tool bag or emergency kit. Connected to the windshield and air scoop, we have fiberglass side panels designed in a special fiberglass material that is TÜV approved, and they match perfectly the radiator shrouds. So they were designed in order to give a really nice factory look to the bike, as if the bike comes out from KTM just like this. They are bolted internally to the radiator shrouds. You'll see that there are some kits that have the side panels going above the radiator shroud. Be aware that is very dangerous because you will have a sharp edge. So always look for rally kits that have the side panels inside and kits that will have you the possibility to remove the windshield easily, because it means that all the parts can be changed without having to buy a complete tower, because out there are certain towers that it's just 2 blocks unique of aluminium, which means if you crash and bend one slight bracket, you have to change the whole tower. Modular systems like this are for sure more expensive, but on the long run, they guarantee you to spend less. You know, in Italy, they say, chi più spende meno spende, which means the more you spend, the less you spend. This is a more expensive solution compared to others, but it's a lot more versatile and you have everything you need to participate in any rally, and not only any, amateur rally. This kit was raced even in World Championship rallies and Merzouga rally, so potentially you can go get this bike and go race Africa race. Some of the last features are on the center of the nav tower. You have the space for an emergency kit. When traveling, this is always useful to have, but also in case you don't know where to put your rain gear, you can put it here, or a toolbox with some tools, so you could potentially put this in the rear Enduristan bag and put your tools here, or vice versa. The emergency kit, for example, slides in easily, and with the straps you can strap it around and it's already secured. This to me is something very useful to have always, to have some place on your nav tower where you can put either tools or bags, because even here on top, if you're not using it for antennas, you could put some spare levers, because if you're going on a long ride, especially, I don't know, in Algeria, in Tunisia, in these places, you'll have a hard time if you break your clutch lever finding one. So it's very important that when you go for adventure riding, think about where you're gonna put the most fundamental spare parts that you will need and won't be able to find. Every build I do is a custom build. For this reason, I have a plan for every different bike. So with who I'm building the bike for, we plan out what use he'll do of the bike. Adventure riding, what type of adventure riding? Africa, Europe, where will he go, if he's gonna race, and so on. Then I write down a proper strategy before starting the build, even on how I will wire everything, and everything on this bike has a reason to be here. The power box I told you before about is the F2R power box. Very nice, makes the connection of Roadbook Tripmaster super easy, but on this build, it has a flaw, and it's the fuse. You can see the wire, it's long. This you usually need to crimp and put direct to your battery, but I don't want to remove the seat in case I break a fuse, and also I don't want to take off the seat and have to check, pull off the cap, and sometimes when it's dirty it's difficult to find. We have a small fuse here and then having to change it. I want everything to be user-friendly for someone that doesn't know so much about mechanics and electronics. So this fuse box that I put underneath here, I removed the fuse on it and I wired the power to the Rebel fuse box. In this way, I will have the LED give me the error, so it will turn on in case I break the fuse. Then even a monkey will realize that the fuse needs changing because it's broken, and no need to remove the seat or anything. Furthermore, these bigger fuses are much easier to find because they're used a lot on most cars than the small fuses. We've come to the end of this very long video, but I really wanted to tell you about all the features I put on this KTM 690 because it was a build I really enjoyed. I love it when people like Thomas tell me what they need the bike for and then just trust me on what I propose to them, because it makes me do really a good job in my opinion, because I am always building the bikes as if I was the user and I put all the necessary. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. If you have a KTM 690 or are thinking of buying one, let me know also if you found interesting some of the small tricks and features I placed on this bike. Meanwhile, if you're a rally kit company, competitor of Rebel Exports, take note and send me a tip, because I'm always making your life easier, giving you new interesting solutions. This said, thanks a lot guys for watching. I really appreciate your support. And hopefully rallies will start back soon and I'll meet many of you around the world, either for racing or on adventure riding, because this summer I plan on riding some of the Trans-European Trail and going in exploration with my Tenere 700. So this summer, let's keep in touch. DM me on Instagram in case maybe we can do some traveling together. See you guys soon. Ciao!